Please take a look of those cheat codes and pause the video to copy and save them for later.
Now we're gonna do an example with reservoirs. Example 1 with friction with tank A and tank B. Now we need to firstly analyze the object. What is happening here? We want to analyze it to see what are we gonna do to get the answers of the question that will be asked. So now, because we have tank A and tank B, and remember that the tanks that are always open. If the tanks they are always open, meaning that we have what? Atmospheric pressure on both the tanks. Atmospheric pressure of A and atmospheric pressure of B. Meaning that we have the height. We need the height of the tanks. Meaning this is how we're gonna measure the height of the reservoirs. This is how you're gonna measure the height of the reservoirs, meaning that it will be the height from the bottom. It will also be 0 meters because we're starting from measuring from here going up. So meaning the height at the top will always be delta H, meaning this distance is delta H. Now we are going to our losses. Our losses will gonna happen here. Tank B A, which we call it HLA. Then we're gonna have experience another loss here, which we're gonna be calling it HLB. That's like we're gonna be calling them those. So now we remember that on our explanation, it happened that when we see something like this, big to small, we know what are we focusing on. And when we see something like small to big, we know that what we're gonna be focused on which formula. Meaning that HLB, it will be V1 minus V2 all over 2G close bracket squared. Meaning at HLA, what is gonna happen is that we're gonna have 0.5 V1 squared over 2G. This is gonna be heavy. So we have what here? Big to small. And here we have what? Here we have small to big. Now we are done analyzing our rows. Now the question says, let's just assume that the question says we must calculate what? The losses, the H loss. So now we're gonna calculate the H loss using Bernoulli's theorem. Bernoulli's theorem stated that.
Please take a look of those cheat codes and pause the video to copy and save them for later.
EA is equals to EP plus Bernoulli's theorem. Meaning that we're gonna have EPA plus EKA plus EPRA is equals to EPB plus EKB plus EPRB plus what? Plus the losses. Plus the losses. This is the first one. Now we know that pressure, kinetic, potential. So now the potential energy of A, it will be what? The density, which is P all over F G, plus the kinetic kinetic energy formula, it will be VA squared over 2G plus HA is equals to PA over PB plus VB squared over 2G plus HB plus HF. The reason why I'm writing HF is because H loss is because that H loss is equals to HF, whereas HF includes what? Includes HLA and HLB. Any losses you see here. This is how it is, meaning that H loss has HF, HLA, HHB. Sorry for that. Now, because we got our formula, then you're gonna do what? HL, HLA plus HLB. This is our losses of H loss. Yeah, meaning that HF, it will be a Darcy formula. If you remember Darcy formula, it will be 4 times L times U squared times F is the multiplication over 2GD. And let me give you another hint that remember that we said our tanks, they are always open, meaning that if the tanks, they are always open, we're gonna have a zero potential energy, because PA over FG is gonna be equal to PB over FG, meaning that PA over FG is equals to PB over FG, which means things will cancel each other, gonna have 0. Then we're gonna be left with what? V squared over 2G plus HA is equals to VB squared over 2G plus HB plus H loss. Meaning, remember that what I said about H loss, it includes HF plus HLA plus HLB. You see? So remember that we have been talked about the flow of the water inside the reservoirs. So meaning that no flow in tank A and B, meaning that our velocity will be 0. Therefore, V A squared over 2G is equal to 0 meters per second. So remember this thing that delta H is equal to H loss, tank to tank.